Welcome back, everybody, to the Get Back Guys podcast. The Get Back Guys podcast. Kyle with me here as always. Nick couldn't be here today. He had a test. He had to study for it. We hopefully should have a special guest. Kevin, my cousin, he's been on before. Big Dolphins fan, big Boston Celtics fan. Hopefully he can figure out his internet struggles and he will join us soon. But we needed to get filming, so we're starting without him here. So Kyle, as always, is here. Me, it's a cool little two-man show here. Kyle actually made it. Kyle's got back-to-back eps. I love it. I love it. Back-to-back eps.
Make it a comeback, man.
Episodes and you missed, what, 2 in a row, and we roast you.
I think it was like 2 in a row, but I think I made up for it after this week.
Yeah, fair enough. So real quick, we're going to talk mostly NFL this episode, but let's quickly talk NBA Finals. Kyle, we'll start with you. Did you watch any of the games? I know you're not a super big NBA guy, but what did you think of the finals? The LA Lakers winning, sending one out to Kobe. What'd you think about it?
I watched a couple of the games. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch Game 7 because the Hawks were on. Sorry, that was just what I chose. But it was what I was hoping for. It was just really fun, really entertaining. I was able to root for the Lakers a bit, but at the same time, I was able to root for Alex's Heat. Again, it's just an amazing underdog Cinderella story of how far they were able to go, especially throughout this half of the season where it was all this bubble stuff and COVID and whatnot. So to see them play under these conditions and still to have such great games, such interesting competition between the two was just so awesome to witness. And, you know, I was rooting for both teams, but in the end, the Lakers did Kobe proud. That was really cool, at least. And, you know, LeBron shows why he's LeBron. I mean, he's just one of the best basketball players ever for a reason. And I think, especially after this last game from the bits I saw, like it just shows like why he's one of the best NBA players there ever was. So yeah, I was really entertained by what I was able to catch out of this finals.
Yeah, you know, LeBron showed that he wanted to go home and he wanted to win it in that game. And
sure,
I am a little disappointed in the way the series ended just because it was pretty much just a blowout the entire game.
Right.
Because I was hoping they put up a fight. Yes, part of it was fatigue, but I think part of it was just how good Anthony Davis and LeBron really are.
Yeah.
I am incredibly proud of the Miami Heat. I mean, I was repping them, cheering them on. I mean, fell in love with them for Wade. I love the LeBron era, but they missed the playoffs for the last 4 years to suddenly go back and not only go back, but to go to the finals. To have such young depth and prove, it makes me really happy. Part of me doesn't want him to get a big free agent of course I'll be happy, but like I want him to spend this little bit of money that they're actually going to have on some real depth to go win a championship, to be able to beat somebody. And we do have good depth. I love the players we have. I'm real proud of the guys. It's been pretty media dark in Miami since, which I think makes a lot of sense because I think they're just upset and they're glad to be home and they just want to rest. But after the Game 5 too, the way they put their bodies on the line, especially Jimmy Butler, it's hard to come back 2 days later and then play at an elite level. But I do wish it would have gone a little bit differently. It would have been much better. I know, one of my friend of the show, Justin, my cousin, is also a big Heat fan, and he was saying to me I would have rather probably have lost the Game 5 and to lose close than to lose in a blowout Game 6. But I personally prefer to go to a Game 6 because it showed that you were able to get to a Game 6, one game away from tying the series and forcing it into a winner-take-all. But I'm really proud of the guys. I love the team. They're all there for a while. I'm for it. I'm real proud of the Heat, and I was happy. This is the best ideal situation for me as such a LeBron fan. And there was a very, very, very tiny part of me that wanted him to win just because I defend him so much. I love him so much. So seeing him win did bring a little bit of joy to my heart, even if I was pretty bummed about the Heat. But, yeah, I was happy for him. I mean, they tied the Celtics for the most championships ever with 17, and it's like, another part of me is like, come on, we've got, 3? Like, let's some teams have none. Like, let's calm down over there, you big franchises. But I was happy for LeBron, happy for the moment for Kobe too, that the tribute they gave to him. Happy for Anthony Davis getting his first. I mean, they balled out and deserved it, and it showed that LeBron is not slowing down, and that people who think he is are wrong, and that he really is thinking a few steps ahead, and he understands that he doesn't need to play every defensive play to win the game. and that he is willing to pass the ball more. I love LeBron. I was happy to see him win his fourth. I loved his quotes during the ceremony. I loved everything he said. I was all for it. But
They were little like not heated,
shots,
I guess, but they were shots, and
they're shots from media.
I know I loved it, man, and rightfully so. Like I don't know, media gets so crazy when it comes to LeBron. I mean, the conversations between who's better, MJ and LeBron, and people trying to nitpick all the things that like make LeBron quote
Yeah,
unquote bad or whatever. And I'm like, come on, guys,
yeah.
let's just appreciate this guy. Like
I
he
love
is so good. Doesn't matter like what
yeah,
arguments you can
I
have. He's
love
so
him
good.
saying that he was like, I know who I am or whatever, and the media can, you all can debate that for who's the best. And I've always said for a long time, it's okay to have two bests. Like there's two bests of all
Yeah.
time in the NBA, and it's those two for what they have done. And yes, they played in different eras. Yes, they had different situations. I get LeBron moved teams. Jordan also had in Hall of Fame incredible players as the 140th highest paid player in the league, which makes no sense. There's a lot of different things that happened. LeBron could have played in that era. You're wrong if he couldn't. Some of those guys, LeBron has double the mass of Jordan did at his peak. LeBron could play in that era and handle himself if he needed to.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got four. I'm glad the bubble worked too, and we'll kind of transition in to the NFL here. But the NBA proved a bubble can work. You can have sports, and it can work without having COVID inside of it. I loved everything they did. They're paying a bunch of employees extra bonuses and doing all this stuff. I'm all for it. The NBA and Adam Silver. They showed why he's the best commissioner in sports right now. And they just did a great job. It was fun. It was entertaining. I was all for it.
Yeah, it's something else if you see that a sports industry can handle something like COVID better than, a country can. It's kind of telling, not to put politics into the show, but it's kind of telling. But props to Silver though. Like they announcing this, bubble idea. People are like, what is that? Like this is when we were first like getting COVID affecting America. We were like, what is this gonna be? Is this even gonna work? Like, but
and a lot of the
it's possible.
A lot of the narrative was these guys are too young and too much money to not invite people over, and that did happen a little bit. For the most part, they understood, hey, this is 5 months out of my life. I can deal. Like soldiers are younger than me going over for 6 to 18 months without seeing their families and people. Like they can handle it, and they proved they could. And transitioning out of the NBA into the NFL and our NFL news to start the show with NFL talk is let's just quickly touch on COVID and kind of the craziness because we had Cam and Gilmore last week as well. And then the Titans ended up still having some positive tests. So their game got pushed to last night. We're filming this on Wednesday. So last night on Tuesday. And the Patriots ended up getting bumped again and all this different stuff. So Kyle, what do you think as the needle moved more on your COVID nervousness going into this week?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still pretty nervous about it. But I don't think it's going to be bad to where the season has to be canceled. Like the more that I've thought about it in that aspect and hearing your guys' thoughts, at least from last week, I'm more on the side of, at worst, like maybe we'll just have to put things on pause for, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks or whatever, which would be fine, would be understandable. But I just see, more and more players or staff members coming out with COVID. I mean, the Chiefs fullback just announced like he has COVID. And so, once he has COVID, like is Patty going to have COVID? And then that's really going to cause a stir. And I don't know. I just worry about the health of players. I worry about what this means for, having a season of NFL. Like it's been a fun one. I've been really entertained by it despite all the, unfortunate noise that's been going on. So yeah, I'm still nervous about it, but I'm more hopeful that it won't lead to canceling.
Yeah, I still don't think it'll be a canceling. The needle moved a tiny bit, but not a lot for me. I think this is kind of like a wake-up call to some of the teams like, hey, maybe not go play, go work out at a high school. You make millions of dollars. You can – there's also a facility that you have a gym in that gives you food and does all this stuff. So it's like, let's go there. And the Titans looked pretty good coming back, which shows even that extra time is not a huge deal. But the needle hasn't moved too much for me. I know they're going to. There's discussions of a playoff bubble, which I get a lot of people are like the NBA or the NFL can't do a bubble. Yes, you can. It's called a bigger bubble. I get it. It's more money. It's a bigger deal, but you
Buy
can do
an
it.
island.
You can do it. It is possible to do it. And the people who are saying it isn't are just thinking of the glass being half empty because it is possible to do it. A playoff bubble looks a little bit better because you're going to have a lot less teams. You're going to cut half the league out. But I know the players don't want it, so I hope this is a little bit of a wake-up call, like, hey, let's not be going out to dinners. Let's not be going out to a high school where there's clearly going to be a ton of COVID going around. And let's just kind of gear up and focus on the task ahead of us. But the needle doesn't move for me too much here. And then let's go off to our next big piece of news, I guess, that I want to talk about first, and that is Alex Smith played football. Let's go. A little golf clap for Alex Smith right there. Coming back playing for the Washington TBDs. Kyle, what do you think about that one? About Alex Smith coming back?
It's unreal, man. I know that the guy was, training and working hard and rehabilitating himself, but even I was skeptical that he could be able to step onto a football field again. I thought he'd be able to rehabilitate himself, but no team would, want him back, let alone the Washington TBDs. And
keeping him, yeah. They could have kept him.
Exactly. But I am really happy to hear that he was able to bounce back, work as hard as he did. Just one of those stories that, I think kids who aspire to be athletes are just, are trying to like get over the hump of something and just are struggling to do so. Like, it's just one of those stories where that he can be like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. So props to him. I mean, unfortunately he had to face against Aaron Donald, but he still, was able to, play and not do any more damage to himself, which thank goodness for. And, maybe for the TBDs, that's the spark that they need. I mean, clearly, that team's already done with Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, or I think Kyle Allen just had like a head injury scare, but he should be fine. But even still, it's at least good insurance to have Alex Smith looking like he's able to at least be back to form. So yes, say what you will about Alex Smith, whether you think he's a good football player or not, but the fact that he survived that injury and he rehabilitated, worked hard, and bounced back like that is why we love sports. It's just those type of stories, man. It's unreal what a human being can do.
From an injury that ended a Hall of Famer's career. Like, it's the same injury, the way he broke his leg to the point where when Dak got hurt this week, which we'll touch on more, that people are saying, no, he's over. I mean, his career might end. He might not be back till 2022, all this stuff. But Alex Smith is a Cinderella story. That's awesome. It shows the advancement in medical science and the importance of trying to keep these guys safe. He did not play great, but he hasn't played since 2018. So, he played okay. And
his leg could still be a bum leg as he's still training, and he had to face Aaron Donald. That's not a good start.
Aaron Donald threw him around. I mean, he had a sack where he jumped on him like he was a spider monkey. It was insane.
Did you see that clip of Aaron Donald mic'd up on the sideline, and he was like, man, that guy's legs are strong.
Yeah. But yeah, glad for Alex Smith. Happy he's here. We got a couple of pieces of news. And let's, I brought up Dak. Let's just go right to that. The Dak injury, Kyle, what do you think about it? I mean, obviously it's a big loss, but what are your thoughts around Dak and that injury and his future?
Devastating, first of all. I mean, we were talking about last week, he's not able to win in the big moments that we were saying, but he was still balling out. He was still doing everything that he can to lead his team to victories. And I think after this injury, it just showed that everyone was seeing the same thing. That everyone was rooting for this guy, not only to get paid, but also to make, this team and his teammates be able to go over the hump and be able to finally start doing some winning for once. Clearly everyone loves the guy. Everyone was voicing their thoughts and prayers out to him, which I thought was really cool. Again, just one of those cool moments where, sports are entertaining, sports are fun, but you still are able to come together for, one purpose. And that purpose was Dak just trying to, get past this scary, awful injury. And it just looks so painful. I couldn't imagine being in that situation. I mean, when that injury happened, it looked like he was trying to pop his ankle back into place, even though his foot was 90 degrees the other way, So I would be done. I would just be like, take me now, God, So it's just unreal that happened to him. Really unfortunate, but I think he'll end up okay, though, in the end. I don't know if he'll necessarily get paid again by the Cowboys, but I think there would be a team willing to, give him a chance. I'm hoping it's not in the sense of like what Cam Newton had to deal with this past offseason, but I think there's still a silver lining for him. I think he showed this season, even though it ended shortly, that there will be teams taking a look and wanting him.
Yeah, and the Cowboys have come out and said, that they intend for Dak to be a Cowboy for a while. We don't know how much is that, the guy's hurt, you're not going to trash him kind of talk. I've been critical of Dak. I'm an Eagle fan, obviously, so it's, I've got my bias with the Cowboys, and I've been critical about his it factor and to be able to win in the big moments that matter when, like, a guy like Wentz, who has played awful and had bad things around him happen, but has still been able to show me some of that it factor. And Dak's got a little bit of it, but I wanted to see a lot more. It's still a major loss. He was balling out statistically. He's a great guy. I respect the heck out of him as a man, and the things he puts out. The fact that he's talking about depression and anxiety and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
What Kevin Love does in the NBA. I love the players that go out and do that. There are always a few Cowboys I respect, even if I don't root for him. Dak is one of them, and it is a big loss. I hope he gets the money he deserves. I know in the offseason there was a lot of talk about he wanted an absurd amount of money. And, I hope he gets the contract he earns, if it's with the Cowboys or not, as long as he gets paid. But, people we knew, a lot of people, the media were saying, like, this guy's going to be out for years if he ever comes back. Sounds like he'll be back within next year. If not, maybe it misses like half the first season, but he should be able to come back in 2021 is everything I've seen, and that his surgery went successful, which is good. Great because it means that his injury was not as bad that I think a lot of people thought, and that sometimes things can look worse than they actually are. So happy for him. His brother is the best. His brother needs to – I wish I had somebody like that, championing me every day, because his brother has been nothing but incredibly supportive. I feel for the guy. I'm happy he's got such support around him, and
I feel like you threw your brother under the bus there.
Yeah, Nick. Nick, I hope you're watching and listening. Mr. Packers get a bye week. I get a bye week. Support me a little better, all right? No, but no, he's got a great corner, and he's a great player, and it's a bummer. And you could feel, watching the game and watching the injury, Romo, who knows Dak so well. Dak took his job. And Romo's response to it was powerful. It hit because you could feel the pain Romo felt. But yeah, it's a big loss for the Cowboys for sure. Last two pieces of news. We're going to talk about Michael Thomas and Le'Veon Bell. So Kyle, whichever one you want to start first, talk about them both. I don't care. Michael Thomas punching guys, dropping stuff. Le'Veon Bell is cut. So what do you think about that?
I'll talk about Le'Veon Bell thing because I'm going to get the Jets rant out of the way because everyone's sick of it now. Everyone's sick of the Jets thing now. But Jets, what are you doing? What are you doing? You get
Kyle, put it up.
You get rid of the best player on your team, and you haven't fired the worst guy on your team in Adam Gase. Come on now. Like, I get, like, if you cut him now, then you get, you don't have to pay as much, yada, yada, yada. But I don't know, at the same time, like, what's a couple of million more? Like, at least get rid of the problem that everyone is having in that organization. So that way you can see Le'Veon Bell unleashed without, the ball and chain, like, dragging behind him and Adam Gase, and just see what you got with the talent that you have right now and see what changes you need to make. I mean, I understand that for this new GM's perspective, he didn't sign Le'Veon Bell like the last guy did, and then he got fired like a couple of months out. But even still, like, at least see what you got. Maybe if Le'Veon goes off, you can trade him. Like, they were trying to trade him, but nobody wanted him because there was nothing to show that he still got in the tank, which I believe he still does, but you didn't give him the opportunity to do that. So that way he can go to someplace else. You get rid of all that money, and you get some draft capital back. Maybe some good players. I don't know. Just depends on the trade. So I don't know. It's rough for the Jets fans. I'm so sorry. Like, you guys have already been dealing with so much, but Adam Gase just feels like the worst of the worst right now. I'm sure he's going to be gone by the end of the year, but he needs to be gone sooner. So that way the GM can start looking at, what coaches he could possibly hire and evaluate the talent, take advantage of, releasing Adam Gase and just see what you got in players, see who you can trade, see who you can keep. is just so irritating. And hearing that Le'Veon Bell just got cut is just it's not necessarily a mistake. It's just a really dumb move to do when you could have done the smarter decision in getting rid of Adam Gase. So that's the end of the Jets rant for me. What are your thoughts, Alex?
Joe Douglas, GM over in New York Jets, came from Philadelphia for a long time, brought a championship to us. And I trust him. And I don't know what the decision was. Was it Adam Gase or was it Joe saying, look, we're going to end up firing this guy. Let's cut our losses now, see some of this young talent we have, and then just complete rebuild. Maybe that was the narrative. Cutting a guy like Le'Veon, he has not been the same since he held out. He's been
I blame that on Gase. I think a large chunk of that is Gase.
He wasn't great last year when Adam Gase wasn't there.
Yeah, he was. Adam Gase was there.
Was Adam Gase there last year? I thought he was a new hire.
Yeah. No.
But how long has Le'Veon been there?
Same amount of time.
Weird. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe Gase. I don't know. He's an older running back too. He might be. I mean, he's still a good player. I know people have thought maybe he'll come to Philly. I don't know about that, but the Jets organization. What?
You finished your thought. I'm sorry. I'll ask you.
Jets organization needs a complete rebuild. Yes, Adam Gase should be fired. The fact that like a guy like Dan Quinn who's a very good coach is getting fired, going on 5 makes sense. And the fact that Adam Gase, who's just awful, has not been fired is ridiculous. But I'm curious to see where Le'Veon goes. Everybody's saying New England. I just don't see him going to New England because I don't think they're amazing. And I don't necessarily think their biggest problem is a running back. I think it's the defensive line and linebackers and their receiving core. And maybe running back. I mean, I guess they got Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel are okay guys, but
people are raving about some guy, Damian. Oh shoot, what's his name? Damian something. I can't remember now, but Damian Harris. But
happy for Bell making like $28 million the time he was with the Chiefs, not having to do a whole lot. Who is their number one back? Isn't it Frank Gore?
Oh, under Adam Gase, it's definitely going to be Frank Gore.
That's absurd. Yeah, all these guys have flourished since Adam Gase left the Dolphins. Like, you've seen Ryan Tannehill ball out. Jamal Adams is playing great. Robbie Anderson's balling out.
Jarvis, Devontae, what's his name? Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry from, like, the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae, Devontae too, for sure. Yeah, it's just interesting. They should get rid of Gase. Transitioning then, end the news here. Michael Thomas punching a teammate. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on with the Saints. It feels weird. It feels awkward. It feels like they should be more a perfect engine than they are. And it feels like there's constantly an issue with what Breeze's comments before the season. Michael Thomas now, their play hasn't been amazing. I mean, they almost lost to the Chargers. They probably should have lost to the Chargers. I don't know really what to make of it. I'm not really sure what happened. That I heard he hit a teammate, then he got into a huge argument with Sean Payton. Not 100% sure, but they'll figure it out. I hope AJ Green comes to Philly. That has nothing to do with anything, but that's
I don't know. I think it's definitely one of those behind the curtains things that we're just really not going to know about until something finally, comes to fruition. Kind of like with the Antonio Brown stuff. Like, people were wondering, what's going on with Antonio Brown? What's happening? And then when he leaves, people find out, there was a lot of stuff that Antonio Brown was doing behind the scenes where the Steelers were able to cover up very well. I don't think Michael Thomas is doing that. I don't think Michael Thomas is becoming Antonio Brown at all. But I am wondering, like, what is going on behind the scenes between the organization and Michael Thomas, where he's kind of acting up like this. I mean, he gets fired up. You wouldn't really think so. He seems like a quiet dude, but he actually does seem to get pretty fired up, at least on social media. So I don't know either. I don't know what is going on there, but I wonder if it has something to do with the organization. I wonder if there's something that they're not telling us. Maybe it's just some sort of trade thing. Maybe he doesn't like the way he's being used, even though he's the guy there. So I don't know what the issue could be. So yeah, we may not know until something happens.
It feels like that, that couple friend you have that shows up and you've always thought it's great, and then they make one comment where it's like, are they okay? Like,
Yeah.
should we be a little nervous of what's going down right now? Like,
It's exactly
what's
like
happening? Like, that's the feeling that you get
Mhm.
from the Saints right now. All right, well, let's news out of here. Let's talk about our teams. Nick's team had a bye week, so Nick took a bye week. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
that. Yeah, could I ask you something? For Le'Veon Bell, which team do you think he could end up at? Just
I
real
have
quick.
no clue.
No clue?
People
Okay.
have said Philly. I've heard Philly, the Bears, New England.
It
Bears
was
make
supposed to
sense
be
with
fun.
Bears make sense with Tariq Cohen out. New England makes sense because they've got kind of a bunch of like running back twos that are playing. I don't get the Philly idea because I actually think we do have a good rotation. I think our problem is the fact that we have guys who have never played O-line in their life suddenly playing at the O-line position. I'm not really sure where else. Maybe Seattle if you really need that rotation of guys with CC. But I think Hyde's going to come back. You've got Penny still on the docket who might come up.
He should be coming back soon. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. So I'm not sure. Where do you think?
I lean towards Bills a little bit. I know that they got are we what?
Oh
we
my
have a guy!
goodness!
What a surprise!
Yeah, baby! Dolphins getting the win. Kev getting the win, showing up. I don't even know if Kev can hear us, but we are hyped. I also hit my funny bone, hyping up Kev. Ow, that hurt. Woo!
For the listeners, we finally got our special guest, the Finns fan and Alex's cousin himself, Mr. Kevin.
Can you guys see me?
Oh, yeah, we can see you now.
I hit my funny
Thank
bone.
Lord. That took 10 years. Holy smokes.
Well, we got you now, which is funny because might need to send new links out soon. Who knows?
No.
Real quick, Kev, we were just quickly touching on some of the news. We were talking about Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell's cutting. We talked about COVID a little bit. What else did we touch on? Alex Smith coming back, and there was one other thing. What was it?
No, I think that was about it.
We
talked about NBA.
Any of those you want to touch on real fast, Kev?
I know we had talked about our surprises for what's going to kind of like surprises of the week and stuff, and I think this Michael Thomas stuff fits into mine a little bit. But
Right.
I think the Saints, they might be in trouble.
Ooh.
All right.
What a little tease.
Okay, well, we'll get there. Well, let's just transition then into our teams for this week, real quick. So, teams, how do you feel about them? Kev, you got a big win with your Dolphins. How do you feel? Join
Yeah.
How do you like that Dolphins win?
Watching that game, because I was just like, oh boy, another Dolphins game. Might as well get ready to get smacked around for 3 hours. And then like I just watched and was like, okay, we scored, and then we score, and we keep on going, and we're like completing almost every drive. And I was like, what Dolphins team is this? But I think it's I was fairly impressed with it, especially because I think that's showing that we're starting to gel a little bit and finishing drives. And I can't remember, we won like 5 games last year, and there was a couple of games that were one possession games, where if we finished with a touchdown, we could have probably won some, and we're looking maybe closer to an 8-win season or something. So I think at least this win should be a good cornerstone for Brian to get the team to keep moving forward. And it makes me a lot more excited for what we're doing, even with the Niners being beat up. I think that was still a good win for the season.
Oh, yeah, man. It's good for me, too. I wanted to see the Niners get crushed at some point, and you did the job for me. So thank you, sir.
Look,
that was so refreshing.
There's one bummer about your win. There's one bummer, and it's the fact that if you win and you win well, I don't get to see my boy Tua ball out. And I want to see Tua ball out. I love the magic, but I want to see Tua ball out.
Yeah, at least a lot of the team has, or at least that I've kept in touch with, it's kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick's team, and they're going to let Tua sit the most amount as possible. There is some rumors talking that they may try to toss him in where we go Jets by Jets Bengals. So it might be interesting to see if they toss him into that. I also just think it depends on how Ryan plays these next 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, it was just really impressive because the Seahawks played the Dolphins last week, And I got to be honest, like I felt pretty comfortable about it. I thought that we could maybe get an easy win. I'm sorry, but
No. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not with the Magic. No,
clearly not with the Magic at the helm. Clearly with the culture that you guys are building. You guys got a special team going on. I was really impressed by how your defense was playing, even without Byron. Oh, what's his name? Byron Jones. Even with Byron Jones not being there, I think he came back against the Niners. Your defense was still pretty impressive, and the offense kept rolling on us the whole time. Yeah, you guys are really developing some sort of special team, I feel like.
Speaking of your Hawks, Kyle, why don't you just transition into your team here?
I love Russell Wilson, man. I mean, yes, first half, the Vikings kind of were rolling on us, and Russ couldn't make anything happen. But sure enough, the Seahawks find a way in the second half to, suddenly put up a bunch of points in like 4 minutes and then make a last-minute drive to win the game. And, that's just why I love Russ. I'm going to lose many years of my life because of it, but I think it's kind of worth it in the long run, seeing, one of the best quarterbacks ever doing that for your team. But I'm still pretty confident in our offense. I think we just need to scheme us up a bit better to where we're not totally predictable about how we try to throw deep, because I feel like teams are starting to take notice of that and are trying to make sure Tyler and DK don't, go off on them. So we just need to, go back to the drawing board this bye week, just make sure to tighten up how to do it just right, and I think we'll still be good to go. Defense, I'm still frustrated with. I feel like we're still getting run over a bit too much, especially after what Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison did to us. Like, it was just ridiculous, whether it was, running down the middle or a screen pass. Like, they just were able to easily keep our defense on the field the whole time. I feel like there are good things to come, though. Snacks Harrison is about to join our team here soon. Jamal Adams is coming back from injury. It's possible that our defense could be able to shape up after this bye week, and we are getting some offensive playmakers coming out after the bye too. What's up?
Jamal Adams is just done napping. He was resting. We were not injured.
He's not injured. Just took a nap. Took a 2-week nap. Gets the bye week to rest up, and he's good to go, man. That's what we call it.
Yeah, go watch last week's episode if you're confused about that one. Russ, it needs to an O-line. Every year, it's like, okay, we finally got pieces, and he runs for his life. He ran for his life last week.
No, it's different. I promise you, it's different this time. Our offensive line is average, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so used to below average lines, and Russ is actually in the pocket. He has to maneuver here and there, but that's going to come naturally. But I promise you, he's not running for his life like he did the last few years. It's an average line, and it actually looks pretty decent.
The Dolphins literally made him run. I watched that game and sat there thinking, the Dolphins are making Russ run for his life. He ran for his life.
I've seen it far worse, my friend. I've seen our offensive linemen get bulldozed as though they're pillows. This is a better offensive line. It still has work to do, but it's average and it works. And that's all I need right now.
Stinky poo is still a poo.
But that's all I have to say about the Hawks. I can't believe we're 5-0. Like, that's awesome. We're about to have a rough stretch coming up for the next couple of weeks, and that'll be our truest test. But I like where we're at least. 5-0 is unreal. So.
Look, let's talk about the team that matters around here. All right. Let's talk about my Eagles. I ranted for 3 weeks, and then I was happy, and now I'm ranting again. I'm done with it. Wentz is on the up. I didn't say he's good. I said he's on the up. Everything about Wentz was better but the picks. One of the picks wasn't his fault. The other pick was his fault, which has been pretty much all year. He's had one tip pick and then a really bad throw pick. One of the picks in this game was a Hail Mary. Brett Favre kind of just make it a punt, hope something happens, where he still overthrew an open receiver for about 20 yards. But still, Wentz played better, kept us in the game. Doug's calls got better. There was consistency at wide receiver, even though they were nobodies with my boy Travis Fungus, who I don't know why I call him Fungus. It's because he's everywhere. And I don't know if fungus is everywhere. I don't know how science works. I'm a teacher. I probably should. But Zach Ertz, I don't know why you decided that you were like, you know what, Howie, you won't pay me? I won't play. And you're awful.
Then I'm going to suck.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's quit on routes, and it bums me out. Part of it might be because Dallas Goedert's hurt, and the 2 tight end situation really helps him get open and take double teams away, because he is still getting double teamed quite a bit, but still – we had a little more consistency. We really should have won this game. We had every opportunity to win the game. Jake Elliott missing that field goal is inexcusable when he can make elite field goals. He had the power. He just didn't have the accuracy on that one. We're playing the Ravens next week at home. We get fans, and that's what I'm pumped about the most. Even if we lose in a blowout, the fans, those 7,500 fans, will boo the heck out of those Eagles, and rightfully so if they stink. And the only reason I still have any hope is because our division is so historically horrible that I think we can win the division with 6 wins. So I'm all for it. Get me into the playoffs, baby. Until I have serious doubt, that's when I'll be like, all right, I'm just happy to watch Eagles football, even though they're terrible and won't make the playoffs. But until then, I'm going to be critical. I'm going to be mad because they should be better. And guess what, Jim Schwartz, who I still think should be fired right now? Your defense sucks. And I've watched you for 3 years. It hasn't been the same since 2017. 3 years I've watched you blitz on 3rd down or do zone on 3rd down or somehow do man on 3rd down, which are the only 3 options, and you suck at all 3 of them. How do you not? Chase Claypool has 3 touchdowns. How do you not double him? How do you not put anybody on him? How do you just put a linebacker, a slow linebacker on him, and he's barely on him? How? How do you do this, Jim? I don't get it. I like what you do with the D-line. It's the only thing I like. And I do like you, Jim, but you either need to be good or you get out of town, boy, because it's no Philly cheesesteak for you. Get out of here.
Well said.
I would say Jim Schwartz I think it's just becoming more and more glaring. Like, that was the first, Eagles games I really got to, sit down and watch since my brother's a Steelers fan, so we were watching the game. And there's just some baffling stuff. And that is inexcusable when Chase Claypool has 3 touchdowns, has easily been Ben's favorite target. And then you put, is it Nate Gary?
Yeah, and I like it. But he's a safety converted to linebacker. He put on 15.
I think, maybe you need to put him back at safety or something. He's just not a good linebacker, and he's not Chase Claypool speed at all. And then you just watch it, and it's like, well, that's an easy read. I swear, almost Andy Dalton, I don't even know, Brett Rippon could have made that throw easily.
When it comes to run cover, I could have made that throw. When it comes to run coverage, I actually think Nate's pretty good, but it's when the passing game happens, especially deep, it just doesn't work. And we're thin at corner, we're injured, I get it, but it's inexcusable, and it really does come down, though. I mean, if Jake Elliott makes that field goal, the entire narrative of the game changes. The game plans change, your play calling changes. You're playing at a different speed and a different tempo, and our D-line is playing well, and it's the only thing I like that Jim does is how often he rotates in D linemen to keep them healthy and to keep them playing at a fresh feet kind of feel. But outside of that, I can't stand it. And even Darius Slay, who's been in and out kind of with weird game injuries and then being fine, he's actually playing pretty good for the most part. And if Darius Slay is not covering Chase Claypool super great, don't put Nate Gary on him. Don't. Double team him with 2 corners and then put your fastest guy on Juju and hope. And I know we're hurt, and that is a big reason we're struggling is the injuries. But I do think it's time maybe for a new D coordinator. I personally would like to see Dan Quinn come in and be our DC. I think Dan Quinn is a very good coach, and I think he's a very good D coordinator. And he showed that in Seattle, and I think we got the players that would really help with him. And I think it's just a time to move on and to just say this didn't work out. But anyway, let's shift in. Kevin brought it earlier. Surprises of the week. Kev, you said you had one. What is it? What's this surprise? It involves the Saints. Michael Thomas punching people.
So I think, because at least in my head coming into the season, I was like, Saints might easily – besides, I figured either Saints or Packers. I wasn't expecting the Seahawks to be doing as good as they are. But I was expecting probably either Saints or Packers to come out of the NFC. And I look at the Saints team, and I am severely questioning that. I'm not wholly convinced they can actually be able to. I'm not even sure if they'll get their division. To me, if you're like relying on a Taysom Hill scramble touchdown to eke it out against a rookie quarterback, with how talented that roster is, there's some issues. I think the regression in Drew Brees' deep ball throwing. He's never been like a gunslinger or anything, but just being able to push the ball down the field is severely like amputating this team.
It takes a bit more oomph than usual.
Exactly. It has to
Yeah.
play a lot more mustard than normal just to get it somewhat regularly down the field.
The Saints,
And then now you're having this drama stuff with Michael Thomas, and you kind of look at it, and I think it's starting to get a little scary for New Orleans.
the Saints, to me, feel like that guy in high school that was really good in high school at what he did, and then you left for college for 4 years, and you came back to your reunion, and he's pretty much the same guy. But it's like, dude, you're not the same dude. Like, you're clearly old. You're not good. Like, you're talking about all this game, but you're just not. Like, that's the feeling I kind of have with the Saints. It's like they haven't done anything in the playoffs. They've had insane losses. And I feel bad because I love Breeze, but I'm with you there, Kev.
Yeah, it's like the guy, he just wears his Letterman jacket out to eat, and you're just like, we're 8 years past this. What are we doing here?
You've only been to the wild card, dude.
Yeah. All right, Kyle, what about you? What's your surprise of the week?
The opposite side of that Saints game is the Chargers, specifically Justin Herbert.
Herbie Sherby. You call him by his name now. Herbie.
I got to apologize to Herbie Sherby.
That's an ice cream right there, baby. That's a froyo waiting to happen.
He was not one of my favorite quarterbacks coming into this draft. I was a little surprised that he went as high as he did to the Chargers. And he's starting to prove me wrong. I mean, the last 3 games, he's had, great stats. He's looked calm and collected, even when he's faced against some tough teams like the Saints, or at least we are thinking that they're tough, maybe not, in the, Buccaneers. But he looks calm and collected. He's facing, some adversity with a bunch of, different injuries to the Chargers, not only on the offense with their offensive line, but also just the defense in general. So he really has to step up a lot more than he initially thought he would this season. But he looks impressive. Like, that dude can throw a ball. It's, he has a heck of an arm. It's accurate, which kind of surprised me a little personally. Like, it looks like he's getting like his accuracy a bit down. So Herbie Sherby is making me eat my words, and I'm starting to become a fan. Like, if he can do this for this season and beyond, they got somebody special, and they could really turn this team around for, a team that has some great players, but no one just ever thinks of them. That could change with, Herbie Sherby involved, and I'm all for it. I like what I see, and I hope it doesn't stop. So I got to eat my words about this. I think he's looking really good. I can't wait to see what becomes of him. Alex is the quarterback whisperer of, our friend circle. He said this stuff with Josh Allen, with Patrick Mahomes, and now he's saying it with Herbie Sherby. So I got to apologize to him, too, for doubting him, and I'm not going to do that anymore because clearly Alex knows something I don't. So, yeah, that's my biggest surprise is just seeing after 3 weeks how good he is, and I'm going to be a lot more interested. I'm going to keep a closer eye on this Chargers team.
Yeah, I think if there's a such thing as a beautiful 1-4 team, the Chargers should be like the poster child
right
for it. For like, and it's not like they're getting blown out or anything. Like, they're there. I think they're
competitive.
They're just not healthy. If they were healthy, that record could easily be reversed.
Which is what we've been saying, the past 5 years or so. But I don't know. This team, they shouldn't be 1-4 under Sherbert. It's Herbie Sherby. I don't know why I said Sherbert, but yeah, I agree with you. This team is the poster child of like a 1-4 team that's better than they should be. So keep an eye out on them. Keep an eye out on their quarterback.
There are some pretty cool teams that are 1-3-1, by the way. That same kind of narrative. Love Herbie Sherby. Love the Herbie and the Sherby. Ooh, you can feel that froyo name coming down there in LA. I'm for it. Do you want the Herbie Sherby or would you like our Goff Goof? Which would you prefer?
Oh, Herbie Sherby all the way.
Herbie Sherby, not even remotely close.
If you get the Goff Goof, you always spill it. No matter what happens, you always find a way to spill it.
Yeah. So my surprise of the week, my surprise is actually the Bengals, and I mentioned it earlier briefly, which is AJ Green's basically mouthing, saying, "Trade me already, trade me." And I like Burrow a lot. I like the Cincinnati Burrows. I think they've got a quarterback of the future. Mixon's a good running back. But the fact that you're, 30, 31-year-old great wide receiver who's, had injury problems is saying, hey, trade me is telling of two things to me: that either he really does want a ring and he would like to play for a good franchise that is consistent, or there is more problems going on that we're not aware of. And I think it's probably that he wants to go to a new team. And I really just picked this surprise because I want to talk about the Eagles, but I think they should trade for him. I would love him. I say we just swap Alshon Jeffrey. You take a 2-year younger injury-prone wide receiver, and we'll take a 2-year older injury-prone wide receiver with a lower contract. I am all for it. But the Bengals, they're about what I thought they'd be for the most part, but Burrow does look pretty good. So my surprise is the fact that AJ wants out, even though it was just a farce for me to talk about the Eagles.
AJ looks bad.
Yeah.
He does not look like AJ. Like, at least Alshon Jeffrey, when he has an injury, he can still look like he's producing something.
Sure,
AJ just scares me.
Jeffrey on the field in 12 years, but
even still, like, even with an injury, like, it kind of, if he is able to get on the field, like, he looks decent. But AJ, I don't know, it scares me.
I think he just really doesn't want to play there,
which is fair.
and I think the offense is just not what he wants for his style.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's transition to our last segment, over under. So what are your thoughts of any overreactions that you have or the media has that you want to talk about, or some underreactions? Just pick one. Over, under. Kyle, we'll start with you. What is your over under this week? You taking an over or an under?
I think I'm going to take an overreaction, and it's going to be for the Niners. I think a lot of people are fearing that the Niners are going to be a team that's going under. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it was just a really bad day at the office. I feel like Kyle Shanahan is a much better coach to where he's not going to lose control of like the locker room, despite, so many unfortunate injuries, despite losing to a Dolphins team that was considered an underdog. But I think the Dolphins team is a lot better. We should give them more credit where credit is due. But I don't know. Even though I'm a Seahawks fan and I despise the Niners, I still have trust in Shanahan as a coach. I feel like he could be able to right the ship, be able to get this team to turn around, saying that, we're going to have to do a lot better than that, try to fix the issues. And I'm now not necessarily thinking they're going to be, a deep playoff team anymore, maybe wild card, but I don't think – I've just been seeing a lot of, articles and stories where it's like, is the Niners – already like doomed at this point or whatnot. I don't necessarily think that. I don't think they're going to be that bad of a team, but I just don't think there's any need to really overreact. They're not going to be as good as they were last year, but they'll still be in the thick of it. Shanahan will be able to make it work.
I like it. Kev, you got an over and under?
Yeah, I'm going to say under 3 wins for the Jets. I didn't think Gase could be worse than he is, and I'm a Dolphins fan, so I had to deal with it. But then this whole releasing of Le'Veon Bell, which you didn't even utilize them correctly. It's like, yeah, you can hand it off, but he's also a really good receiver, and you just refuse to throw it to him, and then you cut him. And I feel bad for Jets fans. I just don't even know where your light at the end of the tunnel really is, because even with your franchise quarterback and Sam Darnold, I'm not even sure if whenever a new regime comes in, if they're going to want to keep him, because he just ebbs and flows so much, which this isn't all his fault, but I can't even see the Jets getting 3 wins this season. This is a bad team.
I mean, we did a predictions video for the Jets, and Nick was on it going, there's no way they only win what did we predict?
I think we gave them 4. I think we gave them 4 games.
Yeah, and Nick's like, there's no way. Oh, there's a way, and it's called Adam Gase, guys.
Well, and said that more about the Giants. The Giants.
Did he say that about the Giants?
3 games. He's like, no, they're gonna win 5 or closer to 7 games.
Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong New York team.
No, I don't think he was for the. We'll have to ask him next week, but I don't think he was for the Jets.
Yeah. All right. My bad then. But
I
yeah.
should text him and just say, "You a big Jets fan over there?"
And it's just, and then at least from what I've that I've read, it doesn't seem like ownership or anything's wanting to get rid of him or anything. And like, if Dan Quinn is getting fired, how is Gase not gone?
Oh, you're echoing the same
It's
thoughts as
just,
me.
I know it's just like I'm just talking. It's like holy crap! I can't wrap my brain around it at all.
It would hurt to be a Jets fan. Like I just feel so bad for them. I am praying that
Like,
ownership wakes up from their desk and they just are like, oh yeah, we need to fire Adam Gase by now, and they do that. But yeah, they're doing weird stuff over there.
he's a scapegoat. I'm telling you. My over/under is. Let's talk about the Eagles. No, let's talk about the Eagles opponent. I actually think people are overreacting. Sorry, our boy Justin. I'm taking a little bit of a shot here. I think they're overreacting a little bit to the Steelers, and I think there's a big narrative that the Steelers undefeated. They're this elite team. They've beaten the Giants, who have no wins, the Broncos, who have, I believe, no wins. One win, maybe.
One win, yeah.
The Texans, who got a win, and the Eagles, who got a win. They have beaten bad teams, very bad teams. And I want to see them. I think we're just overreacting a little bit because I actually like them quite a bit. I like what I saw against my team, which I actually think is the best of the teams they've played. And I think we played them the best. But I want to see what they can do against a team that has a lot of firepower and a team that is actually rolling. This Browns game coming up I like a lot. Then they get to play the Titans. They've got a tough schedule because then they go Ravens. And that is a 3-game stretch where I think let's kind of see what this Steelers team is really going to be about. Because I could see them easily actually losing the next 3 games. And I could see them winning all 3 of them. So I want to see what is this Steelers team because they have beaten bad teams. They've looked okay against some of those bad teams. They look very good against some of those bad teams. But what are they actually? And I think the media is a little bit like they're insanely great. They're one of the top teams in the league by far. And it's like, well, I've seen the Packers play some good teams. I've seen Seattle play some good teams. I've seen the Chiefs play some good teams. Let's really see what the Steelers can do. Show me that Big Ben has it still. And that's just my thing. I'm excited to watch the game because I do like the Steelers. Steagles for life. But that's my over/under. I think we're overreacting a little bit, but I think it might be served, might not in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I would just argue that we weren't really sure of what would happen to like the Broncos or the Texans. Like we thought those teams were going to be pretty good, and then unfortunate injuries happened to the Broncos, and the Texans just collapsed on themselves thanks to Bill O'Brien. So I think they actually had a bit of a tougher schedule than what we're giving them credit for after seeing what the outcome was after 4 weeks. As much as I despise the Steelers after what they did to me in Super Bowl 40, I like what I see from this team. I do think 4-0 isn't like shocking at all. I think it's actually pretty reasonable. Alex is right though. Like they will have tougher matchups, and that's when the real test will begin. But I'm just not as surprised. I can see why they're off to a really good start right now. It's all.
Yeah, their front 7 is in the amount of talent in their front 7.
Yeah,
actually,
no kidding.
Is ridiculous.
But they play bad teams. Let me see them against good teams to see what they really are made of. They earn their wins because they played bad teams. They played well enough to beat those bad teams, but I want to see what they can do against these better teams in the league, especially that Ravens game in 3 weeks. That's going to be a fun game because it's
that will be good.
Game. Lamar and that offense has not looked very consistently great that they were last year so far, so I'd like to see what that game will bring. The Browns are fun too because these Browns make no sense. That's
a surprise, man.
They're the kid that's not studying that is not very smart, but somehow they are passing every test, and I am for it. I love the Browns. I love that mentality.
They're not school smarts, they're street smarts.
Yes, sir. All right, any final thoughts here before we wrap up on either your team, expectations, anything you want to get out there, any final thing?
For me, I get a bye week, so I'm really looking forward to really just leaning back and looking a bit deeper into all these other teams and seeing what I feel like the outcomes are going to be for all of them. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening throughout this whole league, and I'm really wanting to invest more time into each team to see like what's going on with them all. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. I think it will be a great episode coming up next week.
Basically, what he said is I want to lean back, watch my two buddies on this episode who have, one win each, and watch suffer as I am the 1% and you are the lower class. You are lame, and I'm going to sit back and watch you this week struggle to beat me. That's what I...
I think you read between the lines a bit too much there.
No, I'm reading the book, sir. There's no lines. I got the manual, and I'm reading the manual.
Street smarts.
Gav, you got any final thoughts?
I just hope we can get through the season relatively unscathed. And yeah, that's really just like, let's get this NFL season all done to where they can go and we can get this COVID over with.
Go Dolphins, man.
Yeah, go fin up.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Are we doing that? Is that what it is?
Yeah, fin up.
Oh,
Fin up! Oh, I'm for
Dolphins.
that. That's 100% a cool thing. I just hope the Eagles will stop hibernating and resting and napping, whatever you want to call it. Stop being hurt! All right. Well, for the Get Back guys, this episode is over. Kev, thank you for joining us.
Of
Glad
course.
you got that internet going. For Kyle, Kev, and I, we're out of here. Go Hawks, go Birds, go Fins. Let's get it fin up. We'll see you next time.
Fin up.
Audio Jungle.